Hi guys! If you're new here, hi, I'm Dana. I am a Midwestern neurodivergent author, and under the name D.L. Pitchford, I publish unapologetically honest stories with real characters. I'm still working on finishing the draft of the story that I'm working on right now, the last one in my initial series, and I have already made a really cool mood board for the story I'm going to work on next, but I wanted to dive in and make some mood boards for some of my other whips. So I'm going to get the screen recording stuff set up and we're going to dive in. I picked out 5 stories that I would like to make mood boards of. Maybe I'll only do a couple. We'll find out. I'm going to get my screen recording stuff all set up and then we'll dive in. This is the mood board that I made for my Red Riding Hood meets Jack the Ripper story, and I just kind of added another page. This is the one I used for that. Anyway, there are a lot of options here, but I think the first step is I need to pick out the pictures. Right here, these are the stories that I want to look at. Most of these are some form of speculative horror. Oh gosh, which one do I want to do first? I think I kind of want to do Project Darling first. So the vibes of this are more Peter Pan a la Sucker Punch. If you have seen Sucker Punch, that's the kind of story this is. If you guys have seen Jen Campbell's video about the history of Peter Pan and J.M. Barrie and all of that stuff, that gives you a pretty good indicator of the type of story I want to write. In her video, Jen talks a lot about how Captain Hook and Mr. Darling have to be played by the same actor in the play. So you have that, and then you have Peter Pan being played by a girl because Peter Pan represents Wendy. Peter Pan and Wendy are the same person. And Captain Hook and Mr. Darling are the same person. Just like symbolically. So this idea is inspired a lot by Jen's video. I highly recommend you watch it. It is, if nothing else, absolutely fascinating. All of Jen's videos about fairy tales and stories and their history is really cool. I love diving into the pre-Disney version, and not even just pre-Disney, but finding the history of the stories before a bunch of old white Victorian men decided to change the stories and use them to control women. Before they were written down by people like the Grimm brothers or Hans Christian Andersen or Charles Perrault, these are stories that were primarily told by women for women, and they were not so fun. These stories tend to be incredibly dark, and Peter Pan is different because it's not like a full fairy tale, but if you actually look at the history behind it, it gets pretty dark. So that's where a lot of the inspiration for this story came from, and yeah, I want it to be like this psychological horror, in which case I need to find stuff that really gets that message across. That needs to be apparent in the mood boards. Okay, let's just Google Creepy Island. That's interesting. I do want like fairies, but I want like evil fairies. Also look at like Unsplash. What kind of stuff do they have? Not much in the right vibe. That's pretty cool. Oh, this is creepy. Creepy Woods is always good. The vibes I mostly want are like eerie. Honestly, that's really cool. And that kind of like lighting effect is awesome. Obviously you need like pirate stuff. That's not bad. Stormy water. Creepy mermaids. This is not actually a mermaid, but the vibes are good. Be a good background color. Maybe something more like that. Project Darwin. Let's do that. That's good. That feels like a decent mood board for like dark and eerie island. It's not exactly where I want it to be, but it's a good start. I think the one I want to do next is called Project Summer. Okay, this is a relatively loose premise. I haven't done a lot of writing on this yet. This is about a college-aged boy who goes back to the summer camp where he was bullied when he was a young teen, after finding out that some of the other boys who bullied him, some of whom were like camp counselors, one of them died. So he goes back for closure and also to solve this mystery. It is like a local camp, so it is not super far away. It's something that, like, he knows these people. And he has, like, gone away to college, but he came back after learning about this and specifically wants to figure out what happened. So all of this takes place at a summer camp. These are not the right vibes, but think like spooky ghost stories. So camp and ghost stories is probably a decent place to start. So we need like people sitting around campfires, stars. This is something that I probably want to have set nearby. Oh, that's really cool. Apparently there's a movie from the 80s called Summer Camp Slasher. So Googling that kind of thing is definitely pulling up some stuff. Apparently I need to watch the Fear Street movies. I absolutely love summer camp stuff. This is a pretty typical premise. Yeah, so you have to include a lot of those, like, really important things. There has to be, you know, like, the bedding and the skinny dipping and campfires, ghost stories. Addams Family Values. That's the other one. Like, Addams Family Values and Parent Trap. Like, why do they make camp look so fun? Anyway, like those, but horror. And also, like, we're going to be looking at it retrospectively as opposed to during the actual time. So it's just like, it's gonna be eerie and creepy. That's what I'm looking for. I don't know, maybe I have enough stuff already. Project Summer. And then go in and add some creepy content. I need like golden orange. That's better. Yeah, and that gives it like the bright and cheerful vibes that it would have during the day, and then at night the creepy stuff happens, you know? Okay, I think the one that I want to work on next is Project Nice Girls, which is kind of a like sapphic psychological thriller. what I would like to be able to do is find a model that I like. I kind of place. Something like this where it's up close is probably good. I don't know, maybe I will go ahead and get started on the mood board. Maybe this would be a good one. I don't know, that's pretty good, I guess. I would say, like the others, this is pretty rough. This is probably more rough than some of the others. That's tough. Oh well. Okay, I think I'm going to do one more, and this one is for a project called Bonney James. It is a fantasy western. I have a rough draft of the story. I finished it for Nano 2015. Bonney and James are best friends and bandits. Basically, Bonnie's past comes to bite her in the butt, and she is kind of forced to go undercover for the kingdom to infiltrate the highwaymen that have been doing a little bit more than your typical highwayman. Female bandit. Will that get me pretty much anything? Yes, even just cowgirl would be decent. I do like that. I think that's in black and white, but it's good. I don't know. Let's see what we have. I did like this one. Oh, I like this. That's cool. Pull these in. Some of these are just vibes. I don't know. It's fine. I would very much prefer to have an image that looks like Bonney and James, but nope. And like, I have the Western vibes, obviously, but there's really no fantasy element to this, and I think that's the bigger problem I'm having. What does Googling fantasy Western, what does it even bring up? That looks like it's supposed to be. Yeah, League of Legends. This is very much the right vibes, but I feel really weird using something like this. This is League of Legends, but also that is exactly the kind of thing that I'm looking for. Okay, this is Creative Commons, non-commercial use. I will not be making money off of this, but if I eventually get monetized on YouTube, technically I would then be making money off of it. That definitely has more of the right vibes. There's still not much emphasis on the fantasy magic aspect of it, but I think this works for now. So that is 4 total mood boards. That doesn't even scratch the surface of the number of whips I have, but those are the most prominent ones. Okay, here are the 4 mood boards that I made. Project Darling, Project Summer, Project Nice Girls, and Bonney James. I think the one that I am most excited for is Project Summer. Maybe it's because we're getting to that time of year, but I am really excited about a summer camp horror story stuff, and that just sounds like so much fun to write. So tell me in the comments which one you think sounds the most interesting, which one you would be most interested in reading. I'm curious. See you later.